This is Frederick Watts.
This is Jean Watts. And this is Love in 60 Seconds.
We have been married for over 20 years.
And in that time, we have learned a few things that we'd like to share with you.
So if you're single, newlyweds, or seasoned in marriage, we think you will enjoy the upcoming program.
Absolutely. And we want you to like, engage, share, and do all of those wonderful things that we do on Instagram, Facebook, and every other social media outlets. Send us DMs. We want to hear from you.
This is
Love in 60 Seconds.
60 seconds. Love in 60. Love in 60 seconds.
Hey everybody, this is Frederick and Jean Watts, and it's Love in 60 Seconds tonight, Monday. Hope you all are doing well. How's everybody doing as you guys are coming in? You're well. Hope you are well. We're doing good.
Yeah, we're doing good. Very sleepy, but we are good.
And we're just coming back from traveling today. Had some time to spend with some people, and enjoyed some fellowship and getting away. And so now we're back to talk about relationships tonight. So we hope you are well. We appreciate you guys engaging with us. And as always, please like and share this with somebody who you think would appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. And as always, hit the heart buttons, hit those like buttons if you're on Facebook. And if you're on YouTube, please engage with us. Type us a chat. We can see it. And we're going to get right into the lesson tonight, or the chat, or whatever we call it. Won't be long tonight. But, as we were traveling and spending some time with some of our friends, I was thinking about how it's important to make sure you turn those off, to make sure that you can emotionally engage with your spouse, because sometimes just so much stuff goes on throughout the day, throughout the week that
sorry guys,
it's funny, just a little inside joke there. But there's times where if you can spend time together, and some of the things that even we notice, like we went to a public park, and I was just looking at some of the families and stuff and how they were engaging, and some of the couples. Sometimes people can be there physically but not emotionally.
Yeah. And
it's very important that you take time to engage, with the emotional part of your spouse as well as the physical part.
Yeah, and we're not. I want to make it clear that we're not talking about the people that we were with.
No.
We're just talking about observing, people passing and things like that. It's really easy to be with somebody and not be with them.
Right.
It's really easy to be with somebody and not connected. And you want to make sure that you are connected. And there's oftentimes a lot of different reasons why there can be a disconnect and why there can be a breakdown. You can be a situation where your spouse or yourself, you're really busy or engaged with work, or it could be a number of different things. It could be church work, or involvement, or just being super busy, or with the children, or with parents, or with a lot of different things. And there's things that cause you to be disconnected, even if you spend a lot of time socially with friends or whatever, and not really enough time really spending time with your spouse, and really like just taking time to look at them, taking the time to just be with them. It can cause that disconnect to happen. But we're going to talk tonight about how to make that reconnection happen.
Right. And it's something that happens a lot. And if you don't watch it, or if you ignore it, or if you don't make sure that you're addressing it, then it can sometimes turn into a bigger issue.
Yeah.
It may not even be immediately.
Yeah.
It can be something down the road.
Yeah.
So, just every time, or every day, every few weeks, or every month, every year, you should be evaluating your relationship, evaluating your marriage, and see how you can make it better, see how you can connect. And especially on the emotional, because you don't want to have a one-sided relationship where you may be connecting just physically and not emotionally, or the other way around. And usually one spouse or person needs both. They need the physical and the emotional. And then actually also, because we're three-part, you also need the spiritual.
Absolutely. You definitely need the spiritual. And if you get the spiritual, a lot of times that will help you with all of the others. It'll help you with the physical and the emotional connection that you need. There's certainly warning signs that you are at a place of disconnect when if you're not vibing, if you're not gelling, if you're not
Mhm.
there, if you can't feel each other, that kind of thing. And if you feel that way, you want to make sure that you are actively being active and getting back to your harmony, to your place.
Right.
um, uh, because that place can be a dangerous place. It can cause apathy. It can cause, people to be unsatisfied in the relationship. It can cause all kinds of things, and then cause them to not cultivate what they have and
Mm.
start looking at other things. So you want to make sure that you are watching that and paying attention to it.
That's good. That's
Mhm.
good. So let's get into it tonight. So one of the ways that we think, number one, that we think is a good way to reconnect to your spouse emotionally is really simple, and all it is to just have a conversation.
Yeah.
Just have a conversation. You should be always sort of asking questions. My wife has had talked about before how not only does she ask a question, but ask a question that triggers a response.
Yeah.
Like, that, how are you doing? How is your day going? What did you do today?
Hmm. Yeah,
So
what's your
those,
best part of your
yeah,
day, and
what
those
is,
kinds of things, or the worst part of your day. If you want to, what was good or what wasn't good. And we talk about this all the time. This is not new information. This is not anything new that we're sharing. But you want to ask open-ended questions
mm,
to start a conversation, because if you say how you doing, the first thing somebody gonna say is what? Fine.
fine. Hmm.
I'm good. I'm okay. How are you?
Hmm.
Muy bien, y tú, or whatever. You're gonna say it in whatever language, what I'm saying. I'm fine. How are you?
Yeah.
But you want to ask open-ended questions like, how what happened at work today?
Mhm.
What was your best part of your job today? Or do what are they doing? What's the supervisor doing? Or what if you
Mhm.
are the supervisor? What changes do you need to make today? Or did you have to endure today? Or whatever it is, you want to get dialogue going.
Yeah.
And talk to your spouse. And sometimes they may not want to talk about work, so you just want to talk about something that causes them to be able to unwind and relax and share with you.
True. I think one of the better conversations, or a conversation starter to have, especially when you're looking for the emotional reconnection, would be to be like, how can I meet your needs?
Yeah.
How can I be a better husband or wife today, or right at this moment, or next
Yeah.
week?
Yeah.
What do you need from me to make our relationship better? Those are good conversation starters, and then be ready to receive an answer, good or bad.
Yeah.
you
We're
know,
ready. Yeah. You
yeah,
got to be
yeah,
prepared to receive the good and the bad and the
mhm,
ugly sometimes.
yeah. But it's a conversation starter on how to be emotionally connected, and
Yeah.
it's a very good way to make sure, because when you start having conversations, you're able to just hear the heart of your
Yeah.
spouse, and usually that'll lead to other things, because you'll start remember how much you enjoy talking to the person that you're married to.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And those are questions that you can ask. You can be like, so what's your favorite thing about me right now in our
Hmm.
relationship? What was your favorite thing about me when we first got married? And make
Hmm.
them, give them time to give an answer and give an answer. And while they're thinking about it, you tell them what was your favorite part about them, or what attribute or physical trait or whatever it is. You can be like, well, I love your eyes, or I love your shoulders, or I
Hmm.
love your legs, or whatever it is. That's what I love the most. And then find out in that moment. So, okay, that was when we first got together. So
Hmm.
what's your favorite thing about me right now?
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
and you tell them what your favorite thing about them, and you have that dialogue, positive dialogue, because you're a lot of times you have um couples where they always focus on the negative about one another. He's
Yeah.
always this, and she's always that, and it's just like this back and forth
Mm,
of agitation and irritation.
mm,
Focus on what is most important, which are the good attributes. You can't major on the minor, because if you major
mhm.
on the minor, then the
That's
minor
good.
becomes major.
That's good. Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So if
Yeah.
you keep majoring on things that are negative and that are not good, or things that you don't enjoy, and you keep magnifying those things,
Mm,
then those things become greater than the things that you do love, that you do adore, and that are a blessing to you and a blessing to your relationship.
that's good. Well, major on the minor, or the minor becomes the major.
Yeah.
I like that, and that's just what we're talking tonight about: how to emotionally reconnect with your spouse. And even if you don't feel that you're having a disconnect, and you may not, these are just some tips that you should be applying every now
Yeah.
and then to
Yeah.
just make sure that you are connected,
Yeah.
so that you don't have a surprise. So I think number two we decided was
Um, have a nope. That's for number one. Fall back into friendship.
in the friendship. Yep,
Yeah.
that's very important because it makes a better marriage when you guys are friends.
It does, because every day, I mean, this is just my first time, my first portion of my what I would say. Every day is not going to be, it's, oh, you so sexy, you so this, or, a lot of physical attraction, because, some days, both of you are tired, or both of you are super too busy, or both of you are, or one or the other. And it's not going to always be that physical um attraction, that physical
Hmm.
feeling, but you got to always have that friendship. And actually somebody had mentioned, even while we were out of town, they said, how do you guys like laugh and talk to each other like you laugh and talk to each other?
Hmm.
And I thought about it for a second. I'm like, he's my best friend, so I'm gonna
Hmm.
laugh and talk, and share my conversation and joke, and we have the same, well, similar types
Hmm.
of sense of humor,
Yeah.
so we share a lot and we laugh a lot, and then some things we don't even have to say, we just laugh because we know that we both think it's funny,
Yeah.
whether we say it or not.
Yeah. Yeah.
But again, that's the friend, that's kind of the friendship part.
And a friendship is basically a long-term connection with someone,
Yeah.
and that's sort of the definition, or a special relationship between people and who enjoy each other. And that's the thing, that you should enjoy your spouse,
Yeah.
because when somebody asked us that question, I had to think about it. I was like, I didn't even realize that we had that.
Yeah.
It's just so natural. It's just so
Yeah.
common
Yeah.
to have the inside joke, to laugh, to talk, to communicate, to engage.
Yeah.
And to the point, it's like, well, doesn't everybody do that? And then
Amen.
sometimes not everybody does that.
Mhm.
And when you want to make sure that you have a connection, you have to make sure that you have that friendship, because we have also talked about, sort of in relationship, what levels and stages that sometimes you find yourself at.
Absolutely.
And what
No,
are
no, I was about to saying that talks about the type of love that you have for your friend. And even the Bible says, what manner of man is this, that he would lay down his life for a friend? And of course, talking about Jesus laying down his life for us. But um, when you have a friend, your friend will do things for you. Your
Mhm,
friend will look for ways to bless you. Your friend will look for ways to be good to you. And
mhm,
it's not a romantic thing. It's
mhm,
just like, oh, I want to do something nice for my friend. I want to take my friend out to lunch. I want to buy my friend a gift. I want to send my friend this, or I want to take my friend to accompany me to this event, or I want to accompany them to their important event, because this is what you do for a friend. These are things that you should absolutely do for your husband or
yeah,
your wife. You
yeah.
want to be, um, that person. Rosalind said, "What did she say?"
It's they know what each other's thinking sometimes, that it's sometimes scary.
Yeah,
Yep,
and that's
yep.
that's a part of that oneness. It's a part of that relationship. When you know what the other person is thinking, that's a part of that connection.
Hmm.
That's a part of that friendship, really,
Hmm.
and a part of that love. When you can finish each other's sentences, you know what the other person is thinking, you know what they're feeling. But again, when you are friends and you have a friendship,
Hmm.
that fosters good relationship, it fosters good connection,
Right.
and as a friend, you can stir up that conversation easily. For example, and this is not necessarily a conversation, but today, just getting out of the bed this morning, and we were in a whole nother state, getting out of the bed this morning and having to travel back. But I had so much on my plate, just so much on my plate. And I was like, I'm overwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed. And there were certain things in my day There's a couple of things that I did ask my husband, but there were a number of things that I didn't have to ask him to do for me. That because he knows me and because he's my friend and because he's my spouse, he just took those things off of my plate to help me. And I didn't have to ask. And I want you to know they were not unnoticed, and I thank you for that. But I noticed those, and I appreciate those things because, as a friend is good to your friend. Um, you're good to your friend because you love them and because you care about them. So, even if it's not romantic feelings, even in that moment, that friendship can cause you to make sure that you're connected because you're not going to do anything to hurt your friend, not intentionally hurt your friend. So those are things that you want to make sure that you're cultivating and
That's true.
engaging in.
That's true. Kenyatta said, and it's important to develop that friendship before you get married.
It is so important.
It's really set, because you shouldn't have to work at it then if you've already established it. That's the point of dating and
Yeah.
understanding, who you're about to get into or what you're about to get into, because that marriage is a lifelong commitment. It's a journey. People change, people grow, people do all those things. But if you're able to be friends first, and because some people are just that.
Yeah.
They are just friends. And then they go to get married and they never get above the friendship stage, or like what we call the chum stage in a relationship, because that's all. They're good friends. They like spending time together. They like going bowling together.
Sure.
But that's it.
Yeah.
There's nothing else. But you committed to this person for a lifetime, because you haven't grown in the relationship. So being a friend at first is the foundation of reconnecting.
Yeah.
But then you have to add the other aspects of that to be successful and to be really emotionally connected.
Absolutely. And that is the key, being emotionally connected. Thank you, Richard. You said welcome back. Thank you. I appreciate it. And yes, good friends foster a good relationship. Certainly, it does take work to even kind of stay friends, but just because you're friends or just because you are chums or comrades, we talked about the 4 C's back some time ago, but in order to get to the place where you're at that 4th C, that highest level, which is confidant, you've got to cultivate that friendship. You've got to cultivate that friendship, because a confidant is more than a friend. And like the song, thank you for being a friend, travel down the road and back again, your heart is pure. You're a pal and a confidant. That's like you're a chum, but a confidant is something you tell your secrets to, someone you tell secrets to, you share intimacy with, and that person should be, your spouse that you share intimacy with. That is your confidant. When you pour out your heart, meaning you have a safe place to pour out your heart, whether it's a heart that has made mistakes, a heart that is not, completely developed or at its maximum, a heart that shows its weaknesses, a heart that shows its strengths. You are able to share everything in your heart as a confidant.
That's good.
So, again, falling back into friendship helps you fall back into that intimacy as a confidant, sharing and talking, pillow talk, sharing your hopes and dreams, things that you would one day hope to do or be, and having a safe place to do that. That's because good. Some people, want to share their hopes and dreams, and then the spouse is like, well, that's stupid. Why would you want to do that? You know what I'm saying? And that's real talk. Sometimes people have spouses that are like that, right. But you got to provide a safe place. When, if your spouse is, comes in, she's like, you know what? I really overspent. I just made some dumb choices and I made a mistake and I spent a lot of money that I shouldn't have spent. You got to provide a safe place for your spouse to be able to make that confession, or whatever the confession is, whether it's a hurtful confession or not. But if they give you a hurtful confession in humility, then you still have intimacy. You still have intimacy. Now they may have to make some corrections on some behavior, but you still have that connection. So again, falling back into friendship is very, very important, and making sure that you are emotionally connected.
That's good. And so, and going into number 3, and that ties to what you had said earlier, when you're a friend, you speak kind to people, you are loving and caring, and that sort of a way to reconnect with your spouse is that
Yeah.
this is something you should do daily, and that's give affirmations and compliments.
Yeah.
And that's something that is that you may not even think about, but is really important. Like you said today, when you needed help, just being able to say, all right, you had a free zone to be able to say that. But then like you said to me, oh, I noticed what you did. No, that made me feel great. Regardless of whether or not I did it because you needed it. And like you do for me, you do it because you love me.
Yeah.
But when you create like what Dan is creating a inviting atmosphere, or basically giving your spouse daily affirmations and compliments.
Mhm.
And that's sort of biblically sound because the Bible says that death and life are in the power of the tongue.
Yeah.
And so, I like what the Message Bible says about that. And it says, words kill or words give life.
Absolutely.
So they're either poison or fruit.
Yeah.
And then it just says, you choose.
You choose.
You choose. And a lot of times we can speak roughly to our spouse.
Yeah.
We can speak mean, unintentionally or intentionally. But because you, especially as men, being a priest of your home, you have power in your tongue.
Absolutely.
And the way that you speak to your spouse, the way that you speak to your children will affect your relationship in your household.
Absolutely. And in the manner in which you speak it, if you
Mhm.
speak it, you always speaking down to your spouse, whether it's your wife or your husband, you just, you're so stupid, or why you do like, that's dumb. Why would you do that
Mhm.
all the time? Or are you crazy? Or what is
Mhm.
wrong with you? Or, things like that. Those are, even if they don't seem like they're hurtful to them at the moment, they
Mhm.
are emasculating to a man. They are tearing down to a woman, and even to your children. You got to be really careful. And I even, even as my kids are young adults,
Mhm.
I'm careful of how I speak to them and how I even offer correction to them. I can't be
Mhm.
like, well, that's stupid, or you doing something stupid. You got to make good choices in the proper way,
Mhm.
in a way that builds them up, in a way that affirms their manhood, because I have young
Mhm.
men, or their womanhood, or if it's your spouse, a way that affirms them as a man or a woman.
Mhm.
And know that, I'm praying for you, but I know that you're going to make the right choices. I know
Right.
you're going to make good choices. I know you're going to make godly choices, because you're a man of God, because you're a woman of God.
Right.
And you are my man of God in this house, and you're my woman of God in this house. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
right.
And you got to make sure that you're building up your spouse with your words.
Mhm.
Jessica said that her and Jordan were friends before marriage, and that foundation helped to help them in areas of their marriage. It will help you in areas, because you tell your best friend everything.
Right.
And no matter how terrible it is, you tell your best friend everything.
Yeah.
So,
And going back to that, when you are friends, and that takes away some of the options, meaning that, hey, because we're friends, because we love each other, because we have that friendship foundation, when you make a mistake, I'm not going to divorce you. I'm not going to give up on you. I'm not going to quit you. That's not what friends do. They stick together till the end.
Yeah.
But when you don't have those foundations, or you're not connecting emotionally, that brings in a lot of other areas that, when trouble arises. And that's why even daily, you need to deposit daily into your spouse. You have to build their bank up. So if you're not there, and this is a relationship that goes in with anybody in your household,
Yeah.
your children, your parents, or whatever, daily affirmations is what a family needs to get through the day.
Yeah.
And making sure that you are doing that, because all it's doing is setting foundations. And like we say almost every week, is also building fences to protect your marriage as well.
Absolutely. If the Lord loves to be praised, how much more do we want to receive praise from that we love? He wants to receive praise from those that he loves, his creation, and those that love him. So, if he wants to receive praise and love and adoration poured out on him, then how much more does his creation want to receive love and praise and adoration poured out on them? You got to make sure that you're the person that's doing that, because if you don't, somebody else might. Now I'm just being real talk here. Somebody else might be like, "Oh, you're a beautiful lady. You're so nice. You know, you are super smart. You do this and the out." And then, you know, she might get used to hearing that from someone else. And that's not something that you want to happen, because that's not anybody else's place but yours.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? And she won't be thirsty for it anywhere else, or he won't be thirsty for it anywhere else. Learn how to talk to your spouse. Learn how to talk to your spouse with kindness and gentleness and loving kindness and meekness and all the good things that you will speak to your favorite person, because this is my favorite person. My favorite person.
You are mine. Yeah.
Thank you.
And you know, that sort of goes into our number 4, I guess. No, or is it number 4? We're
Number
almost
4
done.
that's the last one.
Because you said something about about being thirsty, and really what that is that you know, if you start tasting that or having a taste for it, so you know, reconnecting emotionally is that you really need to connect sexually.
Yes.
That's a part of building that emotional fence, because you know, because the Bible says in 1 Corinthians 7:3, let the husband render unto the wife due benevolence.
Yes.
You know, and likewise also the wife to the husband.
Yes.
And so we've taught about this a lot. And if you wanted to break it down, not to get into a sermon, but it spoke to the man first. And a lot of people say, you know, well, you speak to the man because he's the priest, which he is. It's true. And, you know, he doesn't mean that he always has to be the initiator of the physical of sex, but the amplified version says that the husband must fulfill his marital duties to his wife. So that's really for men, because God knows, you know, you know where you know where I'm going. Yeah. Men have a desire and have a pull first, you know, being that hunger, being that seed planter. That God said, now wait a minute, you know, you need to connect sexually because it's important to you, because if not, that flesh is so hard to tame that if you are not doing that and you made this commitment, it's hard to keep it.
Absolutely.
And then it went and said that the wife, you know, and then likewise the wife to the husband. Oh, but actually before that, then he says, do that benevolence, but do it with goodwill and kindness. So that goodwill and kindness is for her, because she can connect emotionally. She needs to connect emotionally first before she connects physically first. Right. So the Bible, you know, the Bible says do it well, do it good, right? In the content that is do it well and do it good. In the content that is made, but it's important. If God didn't because he made it pleasurable for a reason, but he also knew in his wisdom that you need to address that to be connected. Absolutely. Because then if you withhold it, or if you don't do it, or you know, put it to the back burner, is going to be a way that you will disconnect.
You will. And then, you know, and this is to the fellas or anybody that might be listening that's a fella, you know, it is easier to have a woman connect to you spiritually or emotionally if you are showing kindness and tenderness. You know, if she calls you on the phone and you like, what? That's not going to make her connect to you at all. That's going to make her want to slap your face from the top to the bottom. You know, if you, you know, ask her to do, or, you know, you want her to do something and the way that you ask her is kind of mean or disconnected, or like, oh, this, like, you're not cooking nothing, or this is what you cooked, or this what you made. You know, that is going to make her not feel connected. It's going to make her feel self-conscious. It's going to make her feel unloved. It's going to make her feel undesired, unrespected, or disrespected. And then also disconnected. True. You know, if I'm your, you know, favorite person, or if I'm the person that you love, when you greet somebody that you're excited to see, you are kind to them, you are embracing them. When you see their number come across or their text come across, you are happy to see it. You have got to show that. And that goes back again to that number 3 about the affirmations and compliments and what you say and how you say it. It's your delivery that cultivates. Your delivery is the fertilizer to that relationship. Your delivery is the fertilizer to that emotional connection that leads to that sexual connection. Because a woman is like a teapot. She may start out slow, getting warm, but
Mm.
once she's hot, she's gonna stay hot for a long time.
That's
But
right.
it's up to you to turn up the fire.
That's right. And a lot of you can make a lot of analogies out of that.
Yeah.
Wondering why every time you go to get some tea, you never get none is because
Mhm.
the pot's cold.
The pot is
You know,
cold.
and the pot is cold not because you can't start a fire or that you are not the fire, but that you didn't light the fire, meaning that you didn't put in the work before then.
Yeah.
And and because of that, like you said, you might even be able to connect physically and have sex,
But it's
but
not
it's not
great.
and it's not emotional. And
Absolutely.
because man is spiritual and fleshly,
Yeah.
God created that it should be both. And
Absolutely.
so that's when you're living your best life. That's when you
Yeah.
have your best connection, is when you're able to do both. And like you said, if your text messages and stuff at the beginning of the day are not appropriate or rough or whatever, then it's
Mean.
mean, then it's hard to have the great connection at the end of the day
Yeah.
if all through the day you never built or poured into your spouse.
Absolutely. That's again, all those compliments, affirmation, and I don't care how old your relationship is or how young it is.
Mhm.
Get there and stay there, complimenting and building up your spouse. You compliment and building up your wife or your husband. Those things help with help you to reconnect. And if you're feeling disconnected, start with doing that. Start, building up your spouse. you know, Gosh, babe, your legs, I don't know, God just made, when he made your legs were the last legs that he made that was just like perfect, or this is perfect about you, or, honey, your chest is like, whoa, your back is like
Mhm.
fantastic, I
Mhm.
love your muscles. Your
Mhm.
muscles are this great, or, you're so slender and this looks so good. You have got to pour out that
Mhm.
love and that affirmation and affection on your spouse, and do it, in private, but also, sometimes you have to do it in public,
Mhm.
because doing it publicly does help to build that fence, and
Right.
that fence that we always talk about around your relationship, letting others know that this is
Mhm.
the love of your life,
Right.
you
And when
know?
you say love of your life, a lot of times when you're not able to connect emotionally,
Yeah.
it's because you don't understand what love is.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, and this love, when we're talking about sexually, we're talking about eros,
Yes.
which is that physical, which is that
Erotic.
romantic, that erotic
Yes.
love. And a lot of times, and the Bible is like, you have to deal with this kind of love because it's important. You might be only loving in pragma, which is enduring, or the affectionate kind, which is philia, I
Hmm.
believe. And those are love, but it's different. So Bible's like, let us address this burning love here.
Yeah.
And then spiritually, or going into the final aspect or the final point, just for tonight, we're not going to be quick or long, but tonight. But the most important thing is, and I think the most important when we're talking about love, is agape.
Yeah.
And that's that unconditional love. And that should be, pretty much number 5, is to connect in agape, which is unconditional, but it's also connecting spiritually.
Yep. You want to connect with spiritual love. And, you know, one thing that I tell people all the time, especially young couples starting out, but even couples that have been together for a long time and have lost that loving feeling,
Hmm.
and have lost that emotional connection, um, is that a family that prays together stays together. A couple that prays together stays together.
Hmm.
Um, if you don't do anything but take 30 seconds a day and pray with your spouse. And then sometimes you guys only see each other in passing, or do it on a lunch, on a time when you can have a break. Pray with your spouse, and
Hmm.
then go a little bit further and pray for your spouse. That helps you have a spiritual connection. If we're getting, like, if we get, like, where our life is busy, and my husband travels a lot, so if he's gone and we don't get an opportunity, like he's on a whole different time zone or whatever, and we don't get a chance to connect and pray together, I feel it. We both
Hmm.
feel it in the relationship. We're like, oh, we got to make sure that we're praying, that we're
Hmm.
getting together and we're praying together.
Yeah, that's true. I'm laughing at the bibs on the comment because they connecting tonight already. They were
All
like,
right,
I
connect
love complimenting
today.
my queen. I love complimenting my husband. Not being
Yes.
ashamed to show your love,
Yeah.
like you said, not just for your person, but for the world.
Yeah.
One, so all that's how God designed it, and two, that is a fence.
Yeah.
You know, because you don't want to, if you like the Bible said, if you're ashamed, if I'm ashamed before, you know, to be profess Christ,
Yeah.
He's gonna be ashamed to see you at the heavenly
Absolutely.
gate. So why also when if I'm ashamed to profess my love for my wife or my spouse outside, then why should I expect some affection on the inside?
Absolutely. And I like even, little small things. I look at Charvella Bibbs and Daniel Bibbs, their profile pictures. They, have loving pictures of each other in their profiles.
Mhm.
And that's another fence. I'm lisping, guys. These braces are getting on my nerves. But anyways, that's a fence. That is a place to keep that love, there and keep it present, to keep it revived. But again, praying together, speaking to spiritual common goals with each other. Those are ways to connect. Praying over your children or praying over a specific thing, or a need or a desire that you both have. Definitely do that. And then if you don't have a spouse that's saved, or a spouse that is in a place where they, are just in prayer mode, let them hear you praying for them. Let them, like, Father God, I just ask you to bless my husband. God, bless him in everything that he does. Give him happiness, give him joy, give him peace, give him health. Let him feel good. Let him be good. Let him look good. Let everything go his way. Bless him on his job. Let him know how much I love him. Let him know how much you love him.
Yes.
Build him up, God, and keep him in all of his ways, and let him be the man that you would have him to be. Let your husband hear you pray for him. Let your wife hear you pray for her, because that puts something in your atmosphere. It puts it in your atmosphere. You speak it over. I thank you, God, because my spouse is going to be a force, and he is, or she is, powerful in you, that they are a mover and shaker in you. They're going to bless this world for you. I thank you for that, because you are good and your mercy endures forever. And Father, you are not going to let my words return unto me void, because your word does not return unto you void. And you speak that over them. If they're not like totally outside of church or whatever, they're going to be like, probably just quiet, you know what I'm saying? Not really saying anything. Most of the time, they're not going to say nothing or anything negative. And even if they did, you still pray it over. You still speak it over them, because you're speaking it into their atmosphere, and you're speaking it into existence. Pray their prosperity. Pray Psalms 112 over your husband, that they are a man that is blessed financially, that they are lenders and they're not borrowers. That's in a different scripture, but you pray that, pray them that his finances or her finances and your finances as a couple, that you're building great wealth, because it is God's blessing that you be rich and he add no sorrow to it. That's so right. Pray his word. It's great to pray it by yourself, but it is a force and a movement when you pray it together.
Definitely.
There's things that we have done in our life because we have done and planned it together, and we built it together, and God has blessed us to do that. And you can do it too. You can build a dynamic life, and you can build that spiritual reconnection and that emotional reconnection to your spouse via spiritual connection.
Very true. Very true.
Yeah.
Well, that's it for tonight. We appreciate you guys joining us. We saw all the hearts that you were giving us, and thank you guys. We appreciate it, and we appreciate you engaging with us. And as always, please like and share with somebody that you think may enjoy this, and follow us on Instagram at Wattsup Entertainment, and on Facebook at Wattsup Entertainment. And like always, this is episode 62. You can go watch 63. Yeah. 62, yeah, 63. We can go back and watch any of the episodes that we talked about on our YouTube channel at Wattsup Video. So we appreciate you guys, signing in, and then we will see you guys next week. 9 o'clock on Monday.
We're praying for you guys, for sure.
We're praying for you guys.
Absolutely, and we love you all, and God bless. Our son put out a new Mother's Day song. Please download it for your moms, or moms in your life, or wives, or sisters, or cousins that are moms. Support him. We're giving them a shout out tonight.
Yeah, maybe we'll play it next week. On Love in 60 Seconds. And you guys definitely go in, and it's a great song to share with your mothers and everybody. So we will see you guys next week. This is Frederick and Gene Watts, and this is Love in 60 Seconds.
Good night.
Good night. Well, guys, we have to wrap it up this evening. We really hope that you've enjoyed our conversation.
Yes, this conversation has been amazing, and we want you to tune in again next time so that we can discuss more of these amazing topics and these topics of interest. Then don't forget to DM us, contact us, reach out to us, and we will definitely respond back.
If this has been Love in 60 Seconds, don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram.
All right, good night, everybody.
60